This time, I would like to talk about how the Japanese media's neglect in covering certain topics has led ordinary Japanese people to completely misunderstand China, creating a dangerous situation. Let me show you something related to this. Many of you may already know, but there's this place called Yuan, Old Summer Palace, in Beijing. A Japanese tourist was sightseeing there when they were approached by a Chinese influencer, and a trouble occurred. The Japanese tourist didn't seem to speak much Chinese, so they were touring with a Chinese interpreter. When the interpreter tried to take a picture, some Chinese people appeared in the frame. The interpreter politely asked them to move so they could take the photo. At that moment, one of the Chinese people asked if they were Japanese. Upon learning they were, the person began harassing them, saying things like Japanese people shouldn't be here. The interpreter tried to reason, saying that it shouldn't matter if they were Japanese, as they were simply sightseeing, but the harasser insisted it did matter. The Japanese tourist and interpreter tried to walk away, but the person kept following them. Eventually, a man who seemed to be a security guard appeared. We thought he would stop the harasser, but instead, the guard joined in, telling them Japanese people shouldn't be here. The guard even mentioned that they had refused a Japanese tour group the previous year. When the interpreter asked if this was an official policy of the organization managing the park, the guard replied, "No, but you must respect us," implying a discriminatory attitude towards Japanese people. This situation was recorded on video and has since gone viral. It's not illegal for Japanese tourists to visit Yuan, and they had paid for their tickets just like anyone else. However, they were still harassed, even by security personnel. This kind of behavior towards Japanese people is no longer under control in China. To sum it up, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, has long been fostering anti-Japanese sentiments, which has led to a growing number of Chinese people who harbor negative feelings towards Japan. Combine that with the spread of social media, and you get a situation where attacking Japan or insulting the Japanese online has become profitable. This means that some people in China now harass Japanese people to make money by uploading videos of it. There are many people looking to exploit this opportunity, and that's the environment we're seeing in China now. Despite this, a Japanese parliamentary delegation recently visited China and discussed student exchanges, suggesting that Japanese students should visit China for school trips. But with the current situation, that's incredibly dangerous. Students on such trips could easily become targets of harassment, and their videos might be uploaded online for profit. Rather than promoting school trips to China, what Japanese politicians and the government should be doing is warning people about the dangers of visiting China. Even the US government is advising its citizens to avoid traveling to China, because they know how dangerous it can be. The US will go to great lengths to protect its citizens abroad, but even they are saying don't go to China. On the other hand, Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs is passive and only expresses regret when Japanese people encounter trouble abroad. So, at the very least, Japan should warn its citizens to avoid dangerous places like China. As I mentioned in a previous video, the US is telling its people to avoid China, and even a country as powerful as the US is warning its citizens. Japan, on the other hand, is still sending its citizens to China, even with the risks involved. Why do Japanese companies continue to send expatriates to China, sometimes even with their families? This is extremely dangerous. Tourists are still going to China as well, and that's likely because the media isn't properly conveying the reality of the situation. Sure, there are Japanese culture fans in China, like those who enjoy anime and manga, and some people even wear traditional Japanese-style cosplay. But those people are a minority. The majority of Chinese people, like the security guard at Yuan, hold negative feelings toward Japan and Japanese people. These aren't rational feelings, but rather the result of decades of anti-Japanese propaganda from the CCP. They've been spreading this narrative since the Nanjing massacre and continue to produce anti-Japanese TV dramas to this day. More recently, China has been accusing Japan of marine pollution. There was even a man who vandalized Yasukuni Shrine in protest, claiming it was a response to Japanese pollution, despite the fact that China is fully aware their accusations are baseless. It's all propaganda. The Japanese media needs to properly report on the CCP's anti-Japanese propaganda and the large number of Chinese people who are influenced by it. Otherwise, Japanese tourists who visit China may face serious danger without even realizing it. It's not just about China. Many Chinese people are coming to Japan, and while some might be friendly, we shouldn't assume all of them are. Some may hold negative feelings towards Japan and could cause trouble here. Recently, a Japanese woman was attacked and stabbed on the street. It's possible that with the influx of so many people, The government is struggling to screen everyone properly. The risk of incidents like this happening in Japan is growing because we are allowing too many people in without proper checks. To prevent more problems like this, we need to elect better politicians who can create stricter policies and protect Japan. Otherwise, we'll continue to face the consequences. If we don't address these issues, the situation will only get worse.